Hi everyone, good evening. If you can hear me, I know that I put on the Instagram page that will be starting at 6:05 p.m. Yeah, and today is Friday. Yay! Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. I can see one person has joined me already. I'm so excited. Um, I don't know whether I should be playing music for us to wait for people to join or we should just start. But I mean, one person joining me wherever you are joining me from. Oh, six people already. Please. I want to say thank you for taking time out from your very, 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 very busy schedule. This week has been very, very busy. Hi, Gloria. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I truly appreciate you joining me today. Hi, Charity. Thank you for joining me. To all my beautiful people, wherever you are, I really appreciate you guys. Olusoya Victor, thank you for joining me all the way from Lagos. I know it's 10 p.m. in Lagos because where I am, we are 4 hours behind. Olachi, thank you. Azino, thank you. Oluwa Dare Taiwo, thank you from like all of you from Lagos. I really appreciate you guys because I mean, sacrificing your sleep to join me is a big sacrifice. Not everybody would want to sacrifice their sleep for that. But I really appreciate you guys for um you know creating time to join me on these live sessions, and I am praying and hopeful that all of your desires will come to pass. Your desires to relocate will come to pass. Your desires to get your permanent residency will come to pass. For those who are having issues, your desires for the issues to go away will come to pass by God's grace. There's nothing that God cannot do. We can pray for policies to change for our favor. We can always pray for policies, whatever policies they are putting in place that are restricting us from moving forward or from moving our lives forward. We can pray for those policies to change. I'm a big believer of praying for policies. Like I keep saying, I've said it before, that policies impact our lives. Whatever the government put in place in terms of policies, we might just think, well, this one has nothing to do with me, but there's a ripple effect of certain policies, and we should always pray for the people who are managing these policies so that they can be kind, they can be humane, because some people will say if you're trying to solve a problem, you'll be creating more problem. But whatever it is, let there be a situation where it will not cause more problems. It will just be easy for everybody, especially for those who are in Canada that are finding that a lot of people in Canada are having tough times, right? A lot of people are having serious tough times. And I just pray that um, changes will come. I pray that these hard times will pass and the good times will come back. And people who are waiting for their status, you get your status. People who have had issues, those issues will be resolved, or there will be a way out. That's my prayer. Okay, Amina, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for following me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Oluwadare, thank you for following me since 2019. Thank you. I spoke to someone, I spoke to one of my community members, was it yesterday or 2 days ago or 3 days ago, on the 12th of August, I remember. And he mentioned my first YouTube name. It took me back memory lane. I'm like, you don't tell. When he mentioned that name, I'm like, geez, he mentioned, is it Philippians 4:19 or Philippians 4:16? For those who started following me when I was still Philippians 4:19 or Philippians 4:16, I can't remember. But it was a long time. And then I changed it to Canada Info Hub. So Canada Info Hub has been there for a long time now. Thank you so much for all my day ones. I really appreciate you guys. So today we are talking about my beloved Manisnoba. My beloved Manisnoba. Manisnoba was, of course, typically when I start my live sessions like this, I give a brief background of everything. I will talk about my personal stories as well in between so that people can learn one or two things out of it. So Manisnoba. I'm calling it Manisnoba because I love Manisnoba. Manisnoba was, well, I don't know why I'm calling it Manisnoba. Okay, Manitoba was not the original province that we wanted to land. When we got our visas, it was not, Manitoba was not in the plan, right? We wanted to go to British Columbia. I said, sorry, we wanted to go to Calgary, Edmonton, or Ontario. And during that time, yeah, I mean, you know the gist, you know the gist, you know the gist. You be my day one, so you know, you know, yeah, you know, my special egbo. Till tomorrow, if I think about how I came to Canada, I will just say, God, you know, like when some things happen in my life, right? Sometimes, um, some things might not just look like, I mean, they make sense, but you just do it for the sake of doing it. And then along the line, years later, it now starts clicking that, this move actually did bring me to this place right now, you know. So back to what I was saying, Manitoba was never in my radar of provinces that we were to land. Calgary was there, Edmonton was there, Ontario was there, and then British Columbia was recommended. Calgary and Edmonton, specifically because we are coming from an oil and gas background. Like I mentioned, we both of us, me and my spouse, were coming from the oil and gas sector in Nigeria, and we just wanted to go into the oil and gas sector in Canada. And that time it was bad. Like there were serious layoffs. People were complaining. People were selling their houses. Like there were no jobs in Calgary. People who landed in Calgary were suffering. So my brother-in-law just told us that, come, I'll tell you guys the truth though. Don't come here. If you come here, you guys will suffer. The small money you're bringing from Nigeria, you come and finish it. So where do we go? Ontario, next point of call. But me, I'm coming from Lagos and I didn't like that Lagos vibe. I just wanted something quiet and all of that. And then Ontario, my sister-in-law said the same thing. Don't come here. Oh. The hustle here is too much. So where do we go? Where do we go? British Columbia was recommended, but because we're looking at our pockets and felt that British Columbia was too expensive and there was no point going there as new immigrants to go and start life. So the next option was Manitoba. And that was how I landed in Manitoba, my Manitoba that I lived for how many years before leaving. Okay. So that's a brief summary of how I landed in Manitoba and stayed in Manitoba. And Manitoba blessed me in ways that I cannot explain. Blessed me. I was able to use the Manitoba Provincial Nomination Program to bring most of my family members. I still have some of my family members in Nigeria. Some of them, their spouses are saying they don't want to leave Nigeria. They are diehard Nigerian fans. There's nothing you can do. If one person's spouse is not willing to move, you cannot force the person. So we've tried, we've done, like the person has even gotten nomination twice, but the person's spouse is not bulging. So what do? We leave it like that. So that was it. So most of my siblings are in Manitoba, and yeah, and Manitoba blessed me with that option such that I could sponsor my siblings, sponsor my cousin, and sponsor the people I could sponsor, support the applications for them to become permanent residents. So it was that easy then. And somehow, I know that those who are in Manitoba are also in a good province. Anybody that is schooling in Manitoba, if you do everything right, like if you go by the books, if you are able to get your things right, strategize, put yourself in place, you get your provincial nomination on time. You know, you will not be worried like those in other provinces because they've not really changed the rules, but they've added some. I was just going through their expression of interest draws recently, and I noticed that they've been adding some one or two variations around the draws, and I'm beginning to ask myself what's going on. You know, Manitoba is not like that. Like before, you finish your program, if you get a job offer in line with the program, you apply for provisional nomination immediately. But if you don't get a job offer in the line of your program, you work for 6 months, you apply for provisional nomination, you get it. But as I just went through their website today, I discovered that for their draws, they put skilled worker stream, and I'm now seeing employer services, I'm now seeing francophone community, I'm now seeing regional communities, I'm now seeing ethnocultural communities, and I'm asking what's going on with Manitoba. Like, what's going on with Manitoba provincial nomination? Sorry, I'm calling it Manitoba. That's a pet name. Okay, so before I go into the details, I'll give a brief background of most of the provincial nomination programs that Manitoba has. And if you're in Manitoba, if you have people in Manitoba, or if you plan to come to Canada and you plan to go to Manitoba, these are the options you should be aware of. So Manitoba has the skilled worker overseas stream, and that was the stream that was popular that I was able to use to support my family members, such that if you have a sibling or a cousin, you get at least 50 points to be able to add to the applicant will get 50 points, additional 50, is it 50 points? Sorry, no. If you have a sibling and a cousin, the applicant will get an additional 200 points. But if you have a friend, the friend will get 50 points. So they were doing draws once in a while that they were inviting people to submit the application to apply. So for that particular stream, it was restricted to those with an express entry profile. So if you didn't have an express entry profile, you will not be able to use that stream to immigrate, right? If you are not able to create it, sadly, you will not be able to immigrate. A lot of people were not able to create express entry profiles because of that. As in, there were people that had issues with that. So it was difficult for them to bring their family members. But those who were able to create express entry profiles, they were able to get invited through that stream. Now, within that stream as well, they also have what we call the Strategic Recruitment Initiative. If you look at the Strategic Recruitment Initiative, it is Manitoba actually having an agreement with certain governments. And I'm going to say this, once upon a time, even then I was still in Nigeria, as far back as 2012, 2011, 12, 20, really 2013, I think 2011, 2012, 2013. I can't remember the exact year. Manitoba also had an agreement with the government of Nigeria to bring in nurses. Yeah, they had agreements with the government of Nigeria to bring in skilled workers from Nigeria as at that time. Some people took advantage of it, but of course, where we have our people, our own people, there's always one devil that will want to come and scatter things when things are going smoothly. So there was a problem that a lot of people started complaining that, oh, some people were sidelining the process, some people were doing things, blah, blah, blah. So they now scrapped it. So that strategic recruitment initiative has been on for a long time. And if I tell you that as at that time they did it, they are still doing it. Not for now, I feel that they've paused for now, but as at was it last year or 2023? As at 2023, they went to the Philippines. They will go to different countries. So there was a time they went to Brazil. There was a time they went to Ukraine. There was a time they went to Morocco. There was a time they went to Cameroon. They go to different places. Like the last one that I'm aware of, they went to the Philippines to go and hire almost 400 nurses from the Philippines to come and work in Manitoba. That is what falls under the Strategic Recruitment Initiative. So with that pathway, it means that a lot of people were benefiting from it as well. And for that pathway, you didn't really need any family member to support it, because it's the government that is coming to say, we want you guys to come, we will give you guys provincial nomination. So there was no point you hustling for maybe to get an extra 200 points to get invitation to apply. And through that strategic recruitment initiative, you don't even need an express entry profile. So a lot of Filipinos, if you check Manitoba, we have a good chunk of Nigerian community members, and also majority of the Filipinos and the Indians. They also went to India at some point as well. And the Indians also in Manitoba. Like the population, if you go, you know that the population of the Filipinos are more. The population of the Indians are also more in Manitoba as well. So that particular pathway falls under the Strategic Recruitment Initiative, and it's still ongoing till today. It's just that when we had the opportunity, some people spoiled it. And now I don't think they even have the time to say, okay, they want to do Strategic Recruitment Initiative from Nigeria. Even if they want to do it, I mean, You know our people will do what they like. Anyway, so that's it. That's one of the pathway. Then we have the skilled workers in Manitoba pathway, where if you schooled in Manitoba, you take advantage of that pathway. Um, skilled workers in Manitoba, if you didn't school in Manitoba, you moved there and you started working, you can also take advantage of that pathway as well. But the requirement is that you must have lived in Manitoba for at least 1 year before you are able to apply for what do you call it now, for provincial nomination. So what some people do, one of my committee members, that guy was very strategic. The wife was working in Ontario, and he got his, was he working or schooling in Ontario? I think schooling in Ontario, and he got his SOWP. So instead of him to join his wife schooling in Ontario, he went to Manitoba to start working so that he can get the 6 months and then apply for what do you call it now, provincial nomination, skilled workers in Manitoba provincial nomination. And he was lucky to get it while the wife was still schooling in Ontario, right? So, I mean, and there's no restriction for people who, how will I put it now? People who have PTWP. Alberta has restriction such that if your wife or husband is schooling in another province and then the other partner or the other spouse is working in that particular province, that restriction is there, except you go through the rural renewal stream route or through the Alberta accelerated tech route, right? Accelerated tech pathway route. Those are the only two options that the people are eligible for. But Manitoba does not have that restriction. As long as you have an open work permit and your spouse, if your spouse has a study permit, you have an open work permit. Maybe your spouse is schooling in British Columbia. Even my friend, she also did that to my very good friend. I've even brought her on this YouTube. So she did that same thing. The husband was schooling in, I hope she doesn't see this video. Husband was schooling in British Columbia, and then she moved quickly to Manitoba to try to secure their provincial nomination. And funny enough, the day she got the provincial nomination was because she was waiting and it was taking so much time, and she just felt, okay, maybe it's not working. Let them go see which province again they can move to quickly get their PR or their nomination. She got the provincial nomination invitation, that's letter of advice to apply from Manitoba, the day they had decided to leave Manitoba. Already they had packed their things, and some of their things had left Manitoba, but they were just waiting. So she got the letter of advice to apply. Whereas the spouse also got his own invitation in British Columbia. So all this is I'm telling you, I'm just giving you so that you can see the strategies a lot of people are taking. And this strategy was in, like, they did this like 2-3 years ago. Is it 2-3 years ago? No. This is 2025. Yeah, they did it in 2022/2023. That was the strategy that they put in place for themselves, just to see how they can get their nomination or their PR as fast as possible. So they don't, because I mean, age was not on their side, and they did the calculation. They felt, okay, it's better for the family to split, although they are still in Canada, but at least let them split. One person stay where you are to see how you can get nomination. This other person stay where you are, go to this province to see how you can get nomination. So they split. And she got the letter of advice to apply first. And then 1 week later, the spouse got his own invitation to apply from British Columbia. So both of them, they submitted application at the same time. But guess what? The spouse got his own application approved faster than Manitoba got their own application approved. So they had to go with the spouse's application, and then she had to relocate back to join the spouse. So I just had to give this a scenario so that if you're joining me on this live, and you're a family, I know that it's not cheap. This strategy I'm telling you, or this option I'm telling you, is not cheap. Having families in 2 different locations where one person is paying rent, another person is paying, is not cheap at all. But if you look at it, it's also strategic to help at least one person should be able to get the nomination, right? So you're not relying on one province. That's husband and wife are not relying on one province. Husband can be in one province, spouse can be in another province to try. This strategy, I'm saying it for people who are of a certain age bracket, that you cannot go through express entry and provincial nomination is the best bet, then please consider this. Okay, so that's the skilled worker in Manitoba route. Then there's also the entrepreneurial route. Those who school in is for those who are quite young, as within a certain age bracket. If you start a business, if you start a business, um, if you start a business in Manitoba, you can also use the entrepreneurial route, but they have an age limit for that. There's an age limit for those who start businesses in Manitoba to use the entrepreneurial route. Okay, so that's just a brief summary. There are other options. Right now, they now have some regional pathways, which I'm going to call out. I've mentioned it before. They have regional pathways that I'm going to call out. And those regional pathways are, just hold on, let me quickly read them out. We have the modern community. I've talked about modern before. Right now, once upon a time, modern used to look for tailors. Now they have moved from tailors. Once upon a time, they were looking for teachers. They are still looking for teachers anyway. Once upon a time, they were looking for carpenters. They were looking for logistics person, right? They looked for all these people. And all you need to do is just to submit your expression of interest. If you have a relative there, good for you. But if you don't have a relative, it might be difficult for you to get. And if it, not that you will not get, you get, but by the time you are submitting, you have to provide evidence of the relative living in that particular community. So Modern is there, it's still there. They are still taking people. And then we have the Winkler Stanley immigration as well. Winkler Stanley, they've paused their, no, Winkler Stanley is still open. One of our community members recommended somebody that even got an invitation or got a letter from Winkler Stanley, all the way from the UK, United Kingdom. She got endorsement from Winkler Stanley. Winkler Stanley does not require a job offer. Like, apply to them. But now they are prioritizing those who are living in the community. But that doesn't stop you from applying to them. So if you apply to them, and like I said, this particular communities I'm mentioning, they don't need you to have family members living there. If you have, good and fine, that's bonus. But if you don't have, it doesn't stop you. The lady that I mentioned that got endorsement from the UK, she doesn't have any family member. She just applied and she got endorsement, Manitoba endorsement without family member from that particular community. So that's the second option. Then the third one is Immigrate Parkland. Immigrate Parkland right now, they are not open. They were open as at last year, but they've stopped taking people, right? That's another option. Then the fourth option is Funny enough, they've even given a slot for Brandon. They call it Brandon Manitoba Provincial Nomination Program Immigration Initiative. So Brandon now has its own subcategory of MPMP, which is even good for those who are schooling in Brandon. That's a good pathway. So this pathway is still under the MPMP, but it's a subcategory. So if you're living and working in Brandon, that means you get priority for just living and working in Brandon. So those of you who are in Winnipeg and you're finding it difficult, please move to Brandon. Brandon is the second largest, according to them, the second largest city in Manitoba, right? I've just passed by Brandon. I've not really gone into Brandon to see what's going on. I passed by when I was going to Regina. That was in 2017. Yeah. So yeah, Brandon has its own subcategory of Manitoba provincial nomination, which again, everybody can apply. You can create your expression of interest and apply, whether you're inside Canada, whether you're outside Canada. If you get a job offer, good and fine. If you don't get a job offer, just go ahead and create an expression of interest. I've not tested it to see what the questions are. I'm just being sincere to you. If I've tested it, I will let you know. But since I've not tested it, I cannot tell you what the questions are, whether there are qualifying questions or whether there are no qualifying questions. But I'm just telling you that there is a subcategory, just like we have Winkler Stanley, we have Modern. There's also a subcategory of Brandon Manitoba Provincial Nomination Program Initiative, where the community, that's Brandon community, will endorse you and give you nomination. They will not give you nomination, they will endorse you. With the endorsement, you apply for Manitoba Provincial Nomination. Okay, so that's Brandon. Then the next one is the West Central Manitoba Initiative. I've talked about it. They are currently on pause. right now, and they said they were going to open fall of this year. So we're looking at September, maybe late September, October/November. So just keep watching out for those websites. So these options I mentioned, they are all options that you don't need family members to support you. But if you have family members to support you, good and fine. But if you're working in one of the occupations in demand that they need, then go ahead and submit your application and keep your fingers crossed. Hope for the best that you get selected and get committee endorsements. With that, you don't need a family member to give you 200 points. It is the committee that is giving you endorsements, and then you can apply for Manitoba provincial nomination. Okay. So that's it. That's just a summary of Manitoba. The occupations in demand are still there, but people should be aware of the changes going on, especially with the draws that they are doing. They are now categorizing the draws. And because they are categorizing the draws, my best suggestion is to align with the categories, the way they are categorizing the draws, right? Let me see if they have done the international education stream. So they did international education stream draw last in July. That's July 10. And that was the graduate internship pathway and then the skilled worker stream. Yeah, so they did another special international education. In fact, they are now putting some level of categories to it such that international education stream, close relative in Manitoba selection. So if you don't have close relative in Manitoba, you're not getting selected. I don't know why they are putting this restriction. But the best way to actually align is to go to the regional communities. The regional communities that I mentioned, again, I'm mentioning them: Morden, Brandon, Winkler, Stanley. Immigration, Parkland is no longer, Parkland is out of the options, because if you go to their website, you would see that they've not done anything since this year. Then we have West Central Immigration as well. Okay. So yeah. And then there was one time that they did a draw for nurses. Nurses, where they just went into the pool to select nurses, especially for those abroad. And some people got invitation, but I mean, you know how we do things where we don't have people to support our application. And then after getting invitation, they started looking for somebody to support their application. So sadly, I don't know, a lot of people some years ago would just go ahead with use faith and say, okay, I'll go ahead and create my expression of interest in Manitoba. I will choose a community, and then I will mention that I have a sibling or I have a cousin living in that community. If Manitoba invites me, I will look for somebody to become my sibling. You know how people do things. The people are just doing faith and using faith to do a lot of things. And because of that, Manitoba was receiving a lot of applications, but at the end of the day, people would just reject it and say they didn't get anybody to support the application. They didn't get anybody to support the application. So that's been one of the issues. And even with the last draw they did for skilled workers overseas, that included family support or close relative support, they've till now, some people have not received their nomination yet. They've submitted the application for more than a year. Some people more than a year now, they've not still received their nomination. And one of my biggest cheerleader, I know he's a very busy person, he's a very busy man. He's always cheering me up. You see him making comments and all of that. He told me that he met the Manitoba immigration minister in one of the meetings that they were holding, and the Manitoba immigration minister told him that because of the backlog of applications they had to prioritize only those who were in Manitoba first, and they were not giving the nominations out to those who were outside, but that they would give. It's just that they want to make sure that those in Manitoba are able to get their nominations and get their permanent residence first before those outside can take advantage of what is happening, or of the previous sponsorship pathway the sponsorship pathway is still there. It's just that they post it, right? So that's what she told her. And funny enough, the same lady went to my sister's store. My sister, one of my sister, my younger sister is in Winnipeg. She has a store in Winnipeg. So the immigration minister entered my sister's store, and my sister did not even know that that was the woman. That the woman that entered her store to buy something was the immigration minister, until somebody told her that that woman is the immigration minister. It was already too late before my sister could go and start engaging the woman to ask her questions and all of that. It was too late. So I mean, those are the current situation. If you are in Manitoba and you have family members that you're trying to support and you've been waiting, especially if they've gotten an LAA and they've submitted their application and you've been waiting for when they will get the nomination, please note that the nomination might take a longer time because they're still trying to prioritize those who are inside to get their nominations first before those outside. The only way you can bypass this process, when I mean the only way you can bypass it, now I'm going to tell you strategic ways. The only way you can bypass this weight of, we want to prioritize those in Manitoba first, is if you have very high skilled job that they are looking for, that is in demand in those regional communities that they mentioned. If you have a high skilled job that they are looking for that is in demand, if you are working as a nurse, or if you're a nurse wherever you are, if you are they mentioned some things, if you are a production laborer, right? If you go to Winkler Stanley, you will see that information. If you are a doctor from different parts of the world, then there's a possibility of you getting community endorsement as fast as possible that will bypass that rule. So if you have a sibling that falls into this category of high skill, then the wait period can be bypassed and the person can get nomination from Manitoba as fast as possible. Okay, so that being said, I won't waste time. Let's just go into answering the questions for today concerning Manitoba, all of that. Okay, so Amina, sorry, yes. Yes, that's the truth. He forced me to write the IELTS. Somebody paid for my IELTS. I didn't pay for my IELTS, and that was it. Thank you, Madam Folakemi. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Okay, so next question. Is it compulsory to add previous foreign work experience letters to the PR application? And can someone use a temporary work permit for PR before the decision is made? Is it compulsory to add previous foreign work experience? So what type of PR application are you submitting? That's subject to the type of PR application you're submitting. There are different types of PR application. There's PR application under express entry. There's PR application under provincial nomination. There's PR application under AIP. There's PR application under RCIP. There's PR application under sponsorship. So tell me, which PR application are you submitting? That will determine the answer I would give. Okay. Can a close family friend support one's application if one does not have a sibling in Manitoba? Yes, family friend can support, but the points were low. As at then, the points were just 50 points, right? Just 50 points. That's what family friends were getting. While sibling were getting 200 points. So you can see the difference was about 150 points. Just 50 points for family friend. But again, if you want to bypass family friend support, which I mentioned, if you want to bypass family friend support, focus on the regional communities that I mentioned. Those 5 regional communities that I mentioned, is the community that will give you the endorsement itself. And once the community gives you an endorsement, you don't need any family friend or sibling to support you, because the community is the one supporting you. The community is your sibling. It's your big sibling. I'm just joking. Please bear with me. Okay. What is the maximum age to qualify to create express entry? There's no maximum. Well, say the maximum age. Once you get above a certain age range, let's say 45, you start getting 0. Now, there are other factors that can help you create profile, even if you are 45 and above. There are other factors like, do you have a PhD? Have you maxed out your English language scores? Do you have French? If you have this combination, a PhD, a master's, English language maxed out at the highest level, French also maxed out, you can create your Express Entry profile. But other than that, if you just have a bachelor's degree, and then if you have English and French, there's a possibility you can create your profile if you're 40 years or 35 or 38 years, but you might not have enough points, right? Yeah. Okay. So next question. What are the options open for a student in Saskatchewan? So I was thinking of talking about Saskatchewan tomorrow, but there is a lot of backlog, email backlog, reports backlog that I've not done. So I will not be holding tomorrow's session. I'm so sorry. Like I was mentioning yesterday that when I'm doing one, some other things are suffering. But because I'm committed to one, I just have to see how I can balance it. So tomorrow there will be no live session tomorrow, because I need to clear all my backlogs in preparation for next week. So we will hold the live session on Sunday. So I'll be talking about Saskatchewan on Sunday. Yeah, I'll talk about Saskatchewan on Sunday. Sadly, sorry, I'm so sorry. I can't answer your question now, but I'll talk about Saskatchewan on Sunday. Today is for Manitoba. Please bear with me. So please bear with me. Tomorrow, there will be no live session. I have to clear the backlogs. I have to clear all my email backlog, all my pending task backlog. Okay. But just to give you a brief answer, finished 1 year in a 2-year program. Are you going for the second year, or you just want to end? You just want to do only 1 year and you don't want to continue? Are you going for the 2 years, or you just want to do only 1 year? Please, I would like to know what you intend to do. Only 1 year, or you want to complete the 2 years? Okay. In Nigeria, I want her to go to Canada and study PSW in MDCC. If she go with her partner, can he get an open work permit? No, he cannot get an open work permit because PSW is a diploma program, right? It's not a master's program, and it's not a professional program like nursing that allows people to do bridging nursing programs for their spouses to get open work permits. Your sister has to do masters. She has to study at the master's level for her spouse to be eligible for spousal open work permit. So please tell your sister the PSW is not eligible. It doesn't allow the spouses to have spousal open work permits. Okay, can I state the community? Sorry, you said, can I state the communities again? I mentioned Brandon. Brandon has his own expression of interest. You can go there and create your profile and submit. If you have somebody in Brandon, all good and fine. If you're working in an occupation that is in demand in Brandon, all good and fine. Go ahead and create your expression of interest. Like I said, I've not tested the site to see the questions they are asking. I've not tested it. But I mean, if you test it and it accepts you, good. But if you test it, it doesn't accept you, well, then you know that branding is not for you. So branding is number one. We have Morden as well. Morden currently, they are not taking any other people except those with exceptional skills or professional skills that they are looking for, like doctors, nurses, what else? There are some professional occupations that they mentioned on their list. That's for Morden. That's number two. Number three is Winkler Stanley. Winkler Stanley also mentioned the occupations they are looking for. There's production laborer, there's manufacturing laborer. Did I see cook there? I can't remember if I saw cook. There's nurses, there's nursing as well. So if you have a sibling that is a nurse, tell them to look out for Winkler Stanley. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I should just, I'll probably do a poll to know how many healthcare professionals, apart from nurses, let's say nurses, right? How many nurses need information to immigrate? Nurses from Africa, so that I can compile what do you call it now? Compile a tangible resource for them. I need to do a poll for that, because I find that there are a lot of nurses that do not know that there are pathways that they can use to get what do you call it now? nomination in Canada. Or there are pathways that can bring them in to come and start working, and while they're working towards getting their license, and then all of that in Canada. Probably I'll do a resource. I'm owing a lot of things, which is why I said, God, I beg, which is why I said that I want to take tomorrow off to clear, at least if I can clear half of my backlog, I'll be the happiest person. I'm owing a lot of things that I know that I need to clear them. Okay. So which one again? Sorry. Okay, so yeah, so you're asking me for Saskatchewan province. I said Saskatchewan will be on Sunday. I will not hold any live session tomorrow because I need to clear backlogs. There are a lot of emails, a lot of reports I've not sent, and I need to use tomorrow to clear them off. Then Sunday, I'll talk about Saskatchewan. Okay, 40 years, HND, BSc, MBA. Well, yes, since you have an MBA, max out your IELTS score and also do French. If you can do French, you're good to go. French will be your game changer. Do French, get French, and let French be your game changer. If you're 40 years and above, that's what I would still advise anybody. 40 years and above, max out your language scores, do French, and let French be the one to open the door for you. As in, do French that will give you very good scores, or not just small scores, good scores. Okay. So, next question. Please, is the study path for an above 41 years with a family of 6 variable? Well, it is if you position yourself in a better province. In a better province that has an age range that is very high, right? The Atlantic provinces, they have an age range that is acceptable for people 18 to 55, some 18 to 59 years. Atlantic provinces, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland and Labrador, Prince Edward Island. But again, I will not recommend Prince Edward Island. I hope that somebody from PEI is not watching this live so that they will not say I'm bad mouthing their province. I'm not bad mouthing any province. I'm just telling you the reality of things on ground, the reality of immigration programs, right? If you are 40 years, 41 years and above, avoid Ontario. 40, 41, please avoid Ontario. I'm begging you in God's name, avoid Ontario, avoid British Columbia, avoid Alberta. Go to the Atlantic provinces, Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia still, I'm shaking my head for Nova Scotia as well. New Brunswick, yes. But position yourself to do programs that will not waste your time. Okay. Oluwadare, I've answered your question already. I already said that max out your language scores and max out your French scores. That would help you go through the French category. I'm sorry, I cannot put your duplicating your question. Okay. What about if she study ECE in MBCC or NSCC? Will he be? No, those programs are not at the master's level. They are not at the master's level. Again, any program that is not at the master's level, if they come with their spouse, they will not be eligible for spousal open work permit. They can only come with visiting visa. ECE, PSW, no matter the province, it's not by province, it's by RCC. RCC is saying that if you're doing a program that is not at the master's level or that is not a professional program, and what they mean by professional program is nurses, doctors, lawyers, engineers. But if she does a master's in education, if she's coming for a master's in education, the spouse will qualify. Then professional program, there are bridging programs that allow nurses from other countries to come and take maybe 1 year program or 2 years diploma so that they can qualify to start practicing as nurses in Canada. Those bridging programs organized by schools like the University of British Columbia. They have one for Red River College. They also have one for Ontario. I don't know the name. They have one for, is it Douglas College in British Columbia? Yes, Douglas College. That's nurses doing bridging nursing program that are diploma programs. They are not master's program. They are diploma programs. Those are the only people that are allowed for their spouse to apply for, what do you call it now? Spouse open work permit. Okay, so you see, I have one person that I'm still expecting reports. See what I said, that I have a lot of backlog that I need to clear. So all my reports, I'm going to be sending them to Rob. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Thank you so much for your patience. I truly appreciate it. A lot of people don't understand. I'm so sorry. It will go out unfailingly tomorrow. Thank you for your patience. I truly appreciate your patience. Okay. What else? Consider healthcare assistants as well from the UK, not only nurses, please. So healthcare assistants from the UK, right? If you ask me, number one, did you register for the recruitment events published by Newfoundland and Labrador that I put on my community tab? If you have registered, fine. Just keep going to that page to see when they will open up or when they will make any other announcement, and position yourself. If they come for recruitment events, please try as much as possible to get an employer. The moment you get an employer, it's a game changer for you. That's an automatic nomination you're getting, right? So healthcare assistants, I would say recruitment events, or you search for jobs if you are working as a healthcare assistant in the UK. Before, Manitoba had that. That's Winkler Stanley, the lady I mentioned. She was a healthcare assistant in the UK. She just submitted her application to that particular community, and she got community endorsement, with which she applied for provincial nomination. It didn't come with her searching for a job. It was just like that. No job offer added, right? But now they've removed healthcare assistants as part of the occupations they are looking for. So if you ask me, I'll still do more research for healthcare assistant and PSW, because I see that there are a lot of PSW people or healthcare assistant people that are still stuck. So probably I'll do, it's part of what I will still kind of compile. I pray for time, because there are a lot of things I'm owing, and I feel like I keep promising and I'm not delivering on my promises. I feel like it doesn't tell well. I should be able to deliver my promises. Okay. I talked about Alberta yesterday. Watch yesterday's live session. I talked about Alberta yesterday. Watch yesterday's live session. You will see the analysis I did about Alberta. They call it Alberta. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So next question, 50 years with PhD. 50 years with PhD. Okay. 50 years with PhD. Because they are not getting points in express entry for age, if the person can max out English and also max out French, I see a potential. I see a potential there. As a max out English, max out French, I see a potential. I've not done the simulation yet for me to see what the potential scores might be. But my brain is thinking, if it falls within the range of 450, 460, 470, then there's a possibility of getting an invitation under express entry. Other than that, the other routes would require coming in as a postdoc fellow, right? If the person just recently got his PhD, maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the person can search for postdoc job opportunities in Canada that can bring the person in. And then when the person works for, depending on the province the person goes to, because there are some provinces, if you're working as a postdoc researcher, you'll be able to get nomination as fast as possible. Provinces like Saskatchewan, provinces like, where else again? Nova Scotia. Provinces like Nova Scotia, provinces like Newfoundland and Labrador. These three provinces, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and Labrador, there's a potential. And it's also subject to the person's area, industry, because it's not all postdoc or all PhD holders. You have to I have to know which area, because I mean, some areas are needed, some areas are not needed. For instance, if you say you have a PhD in business administration, that area is not needed. But if you say you have a PhD in chemical engineering, or which other one again? I don't want to mention computer, clean technology or something, right? Then you know it is needed. Something within those high skills range, not PhD. I don't know whether there's PhD in business administration, but I'm just saying if there's something like that, that means the chances of provincial nomination will not be there. Okay. On PGWP and a job offer, job to start on September 8th. I have proof of funds up to card. Do I still need paychecks before applying for minor SP and SOWP? And a job offer, job to start September. I have proof of funds. Do I still need paychecks before? No, you don't need paychecks. You can just submit what you have. You can submit as long as your, what do you call it now? Your job offer has your job description on it that mentions your job duties, right? It's not just saying you have a job offer. Is your job offer in a tier 01, or is it in a selected occupation under tier 2, tier 3? If it is under a selected occupation in tier 2, tier 3, then the job description must be stated, right? Or you get a reference letter from your employer to state your job description. Now, if your occupation is under tier 01, of course, the title alone, right, plus how much the potential, what is mentioned on the offer, will also help you get, or help your spouse get her SOWP, and your kid gets that, what do you call it now? Study permit. Okay. Spouse got admission in Ontario. Please advise if SOWP plan to do early child. My education assistant short course in Ontario, work 6 months, apply for CC in Ontario. What type of admission did your spouse get? Is it admission to do the early childhood education, or admission for a master's program? Right? I need to know. If you're doing CEC, is not in Ontario. CEC is a federal, Canadian Experience Class is a federal program. Is drawn from the pool of for express entry, and is subject to your comprehensive ranking score in the express entry. So don't think because if you do early childhood education, Ontario will give you something. No, it's the federal program. You have to have created your express entry profile. You need to have at least get a good score within the range of scores that they are inviting people for, so that you can get an invitation to apply under the Canadian Experience class. Okay. Why is Newfoundland not hosting events for those in Canada? So Newfoundland has, or they created what we call job matching portal, right? They created a job matching portal as at last year. Was it last year or 2 years ago? That those in Canada were taking advantage of. So the recruitment event was not for those in Canada, for those outside Canada, but the job matching portal was for those in Canada, such that you, if you're living in Ontario and you want to get nomination from Newfoundland and Labrador, you go create your profile in the job matching portal and also search for jobs in Newfoundland and Labrador. If you get a job offer, then you get an invitation and you're good to go. You submit your application for nomination. So that one is taking care of those in Canada, while the recruitment event is taking care of those who are outside Canada. Okay. So, business administration graduate from college, waiting for PGWP in Alberta, working in a care job. I've not found a job yet in my field. Okay, so if you're working in a care job, I would say you should position yourself for next year's child caregiver pathway, child caregiver and PSW, home support worker pathway, if your employer is willing to endorse you. Since you've not gotten a job yet, let me see. You mentioned, I don't know how many years is your PGWP, but you're already working in one of the occupations that falls under the child caregiver and home support worker pathway. So, of course, you know the requirement is 6 months work experience for you to qualify. So you're already getting the work experience for March next year, in preparation for March next year. All you need to know is, or all you need to do is find out if your employer will be willing to endorse you. If your employer will be willing to fill the necessary, when I mean endorsement, there's a form that the employer has to fill. If your employer is willing to fill that form, then you know that you have that pathway for you on your belt. But again, that pathway is first come, first serve. Whoever is able to submit their application as fast as possible online, they are the ones that actually get, what do you call it now? Get how will I put it? They are lucky to meet the cap. You know, there's a cap for that particular pathway. So if you're able to, if you're fastest fingers, then you are good to go. Okay, so we just have 4 more minutes. I hope we can still take more questions within 4 more minutes. Other than that, if you're able to get a job offer, spread your options. Like if you watched yesterday's video, there were advices I gave, and the advice I gave was position yourself to work in one of those occupations that are not, that people do not want to do. And one of them is law enforcement. I don't know whether you'll be willing to be a corrections officer. A corrections officer. If you are able to be a corrections officer, that means you'll be in a pathway that does not have competition, or construction, or aviation, right? Those pathways, they don't have competition. Other than that, also look for jobs in the tech sector in British Alberta. But I hear that Alberta has the highest unemployment rate right now in Canada. There are people losing their jobs and all of that. But I mean, just say your own case is different. If everybody's losing jobs, just say your own case is different, that you get a job. But position yourself in these places. Accelerated tech pathway. If you get a job for a tech company, try to get a law enforcement job so I can take advantage of the law enforcement pathway. You already qualify for the child caregiver home support worker pathway, which will open in March next year. All you need is your employer to endorse you. If I say you should go to the rural areas, the competition is much in those places. They already have over 700 people that submitted applications, and just expecting three, as in nomination slots are just 300. So double the available nomination slots. Okay. Graduation was 5 years ago, so doesn't qualify for postdoc. PhD is actually in chemical engineering and mining. He's actually a university professor. Okay, so if he's a university professor, if we cannot find postdoc for him, the next option is for him to come as a researcher, an independent researcher. Or he could take a sabbatical and just come and do something with one of the schools in Canada, right? And position himself in a province that can accept him. If postdoc is not working, there are schools within Canada. I would say not this. Well, he could try the schools that are in the popular schools, like the University of Toronto, the University of British Columbia, University of Alberta. He could try those ones. But if he wants to get something that will give him value or give him PR, if PR is the target, then he should try provinces that do not really have a lot of people going there. So provinces like Newfoundland and Labrador, that's the one I would suggest. And he could try to see if he can get a research job or something, or because I know him working as an associate professor or visiting professor, they have something like that. Visiting professors, they have something like that in the academia. So he could try to be a visiting professor at maybe Memorial University, Newfoundland and Labrador, right? If he's able to do that, then he can then apply for provincial nomination after some points, after some months of working in Newfoundland and Labrador. Or he search for job opportunities that are really, really remote. But again, the remote areas, it has to be provinces that has a good pathway for someone his age and someone that has his qualification. Okay. Can I move to for fast PRO? I've just given you advice of all the provincial nomination pathways you can explore in Alberta. If I ask you to start moving right now, it's still subject to you getting a job offer, right? It's subject, it's not just so movement. When I talk about movement from one province to another, I'm not saying you should move without a job. Don't move to a province and you just go and sit down there and there is no job. No, that's not a good way of doing things. I mean, how will you now pay for the expenses that comes with living in the new province, right? You have to think about that. So if you cannot get a job that aligns with your field yet in Alberta, spread your options around the province, around all the provinces where you get a job offer. Then if you get a job offer in that province, you will now start analyzing what is the pathway in that province. If the goal is to get a job offer, fine. But if the goal is to get PR, then you have to target your job search to a province that can align with you to get your, what do you call it now, get your nomination as fast as possible. And if you ask me, I'll still mention the Atlantic provinces if you're looking for a job offer that aligns with your BA. But if it's just a job offer that aligns with your care, then the Atlantic provinces are good because, I mean, within a short period of time, you'll be able to apply for, what do you call it now? You'll be able to apply for provincial nomination. So, yeah, so it's the job offer route. But what do you want to work as? Of course, you also need to know that not all provinces are prioritizing anything around the admin sector, except maybe it's an RCIP community. And of course, RCIP is already competitive, right? So if you want to still maintain what you feel you're supposed to do in terms of your qualifications, not all provinces are prioritizing administration right now. Then focus on the RCIP committees, and it means that you'll be in serious competition. Okay, so I feel that should be the last question I should take. Let me just take. Okay, let me take two more questions. Diaspora parties, thank you so much. I'm still waiting for the party invite. That is if I will go. Okay. So spouse just got master's admission at Niagara. Perfect. I'm advised to do early childhood education assistant short course, work 6 months, get certificate, apply for PR. Okay. If you're advised to do the early childhood education assistant short course, work for 6 months, get certificate, and apply for PR, that's a good advice. But then the PR pathway, you are looking at which one? Is it the PR pathway under express entry, or you want to also target both express entry and provincial nomination? If you want to do only express entry, all good and fine. Yes, you're in the right track. But if you want to target provincial nomination, Ontario, the last time they did a draw that invited early child education was not last year. I think it was last year. Because this year I know that they only invited healthcare workers. Okay. So I don't know all these questions that I'm seeing that are just coming now. What do we do now? Time has gone. Okay, so let me see. Let me just take this last question. Okay, last two questions. Moscow, I'll take your question. Let me take this last question and then Moscow's question, and then we'll call it a day. Teacher here in Nigeria with BSc Edu Mathematics, what diploma course can I do to be able to secure a job in Canada? No, you don't need to do any diploma course. All you need to do is to do the licensing that can give you the qualifications, right? Teaching is a regulated profession in Canada. Just do the licensing. There's a website where you can go to evaluate your credentials to get the comparative levels. If you're able to get the license, with that, you can use the license to start searching for jobs. Not you, except you want to come to Canada to study. Do you plan to come to Canada to study? If you plan to come to Canada to study, then probably that's another conversation entirely. But if you don't plan to come to Canada to study and you just want to do a course to see what will help your chances, then I would say it's better for you to get your license. Start with, there's a website. Probably, again, I'm still owing a lot of things. Let me see if I can just put it in the charts so that I know that the things I'm owing are not much. I'll put the link in the charts. There's a teacher licensing process. There's a website where you can start the process from wherever you are. So I'll put, okay. So I'll put the website. Okay, so I'm putting the licensing website in the chat so I can pick it up from there. This website, they can help you get licensing, teaching license, depending on the province. And if you want to teach in Canada, try as much as possible to get the license. That will accelerate a lot of things. If you've gotten the license and you're not getting traction with a job, it means one or two things. It means that you're not applying more enough, because I just read one article 30 minutes ago before this live session started. Quebec, a lot of provinces are short of teachers. Quebec is short of 18,000 teachers. Quebec is short of 18,000 teachers. The school season is starting in September. They are running helter-skelter now to look for teachers. Same thing with other provinces. It's just that Quebec one is small. That's why is in the news. Other provinces, they've not come out to start announcing, but before the end of next week, you see what other provinces will come up with to say that they are lacking teachers, such that they are even reducing their requirements to license. That's the barrier to start teaching. They are reducing those requirements. They're even hiring people that, I mean, if you say you can teach, they'll just ask you one or two questions, see how they can patch you things up. And some provinces are already doing that, right? So it depends on what you want. Do you want to come in as a student, or do you want to get your license and then search for a job? Okay, then let me answer my one of my day ones. What kind of courses can people over 40 apply for in New Brunswick, Newfoundland, and Labrador? So courses that you can apply for, right? PSW, early educational assistance, construction, like check that PGWP list. So New Brunswick, they are big on healthcare, they are big on education, they are big on what else? Agriculture. They have their occupation in demand list. So probably I'll put it there. I'll put it on the community tab. Part of the things I'm owing, all the things I'm owing, I'm saying I'm adding more to it. I'll put it in the community tab so that you can see it there, and then you can choose one out of all of them. So the priority occupations, that's priority occupations, healthcare. There's healthcare, there's education, there's agriculture, there's construction. Any of, if you want to do something within that range, then yeah, you should be able to get your nomination as fast as possible. Okay, I think I've spent a lot today. Thank you so much for joining me. If I'm not able to take your answers, if I'm not able to take your answer, Omo Labake, I'm so sorry. If I continue taking answers, I won't go out today. If I'm not able to take your answers, like I said, I will create a video to answer those questions, or I'll create a video one by one to be answering them one by one. I'll be posting them on, I think that's what I will do. I'll be creating the videos one by one and be posting them on the shorts. So if I didn't answer your question, just watch out for shorts so that I can start chipping down all my backlogs, making sure that my backlogs are reduced to a minimal level. I mean, if it's too much, it's too much. And I'm telling myself that I have a lot of backlog that is too much right now. So I need to take the break to clear at least 70% of them so that I can get to a comfortable level. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me in today's live. If you're in Manitoba, if you're already schooling and working in Manitoba, no authorization to work up till now. Since January, with expired study permit up to now, no authorization. Okay, I'll try to, like I said, I'll try to answer these questions one by one on my shorts, because I mean, I don't have the time to start creating long form videos anymore. That's why I'm doing all this live, but I'll be trying to answer the questions one by one on the shorts so that they can it can get out of my plate. So if you're in Manitoba, please listen to this. Please try as much as possible to move to those regional communities, because if you want to fast track your nomination, just move. I know if you move, you might not get points. You are not getting points because it's still within the same province as long as you school there. But if you get a job offer from there, you're giving yourself two options. You're giving yourself the option of getting community endorsements to apply for the provincial nomination faster compared to just remaining in Winnipeg. So that's the advice, the best advice I can give. Move to the regional communities, move to Brandon, move to Winkler, move to Morden, move to West Central. There are 8 communities under West Central. Move to these places so that if you get a job offer there, you're applying for community endorsement as fast as possible. With the community endorsement, you're applying for Manitoba provincial nomination. That way, you're positioning yourself for 2 options, for both the community endorsement option plus the skilled worker in Manitoba option, which falls under that. That's two immigration pathways. That's what you're positioning yourself for, especially those who have age brackets. They cannot create a profile. They cannot meet the English language scores. A lot of people are not able to meet the language scores. That's the English language score is a problem, right? It's a problem. There are so many. If I start calling all the problems that a lot of people face, I don't know, we will not leave Canada in 1 year because there are just too many. So that's the best advice I can give. Look for those small communities and move there. The RCIP communities. If you're targeting the RCIP communities, again, target Altona, target Steinbach. Where else? Saint Pierre Jolie is a French community. Okay, so that's all I can take for today. Thank you so much for joining me and hope to see you on Sunday. Again, no live session tomorrow, but I'll be back on Sunday. By God's grace, tomorrow I should have cleared all the backlogs, sent all my reports, and also uploaded those information I said I was going to upload on the community tab. That's my work for tomorrow. See, Saturday, I'm still working. Please pray for me. Pray for my life. All right, see you on Sunday. Thank you so much and have a good evening. Bye.